Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Black Butler chapter 192. When we last left our heroes, we focused pretty much entirely on the Ronald Knox and Layla / Al fight. We learned that Al is a split personality within Layla, so on top of being a bizarre doll, she has two souls instead of just one. We also learned that, souls aren't... it was news to me, at least, that souls and cinematic records are two very different things, and that the Grim Reapers don't actually... They don't see souls, which is an interesting little tidbit. I don't know. It was pretty interesting, but we see that Layla or Al's weapon of choice, these scissors, can go toe-to-toe with a death scythe, which is not supposed to be happening. It fucked up Nox's lawnmower, and Nox was kind of in a pickle until William Spears showed up to assist in the fight, and that's where we left off. So let's dive right on in, chapter 192, The Butler Imploring. Our picture here is of William Spears, surrounded by pigeons, I think, or some doves, maybe. A flurry of messages, the logic of fleeting souls. And we pick up where we left off with Spears getting a good hit in on Al, saving Knox. And Knox was trying to say reacts and responds at the same time, and got it wrong twice. Mr. Spears! And Al just growls, basically. Damn! You stay out of my way! Spears then spins his death scythe, slamming Al into the ground. Gah! And Spears just mocks her. Do not trouble me anymore. Good grief. And as Al passes out, she just mutters, I'll get you next time. And then she falls. So we'll see what happens with that, because we learned last month that Nox's current goal was to, take her back to HQ for studying, right? Just sort of, do some research on what exactly bizarre dolls are, and how they're developing so fast. So I guess we're gonna lead into that. I don't know, we'll see. But Nox sort of collects himself. That was close. Thank you, Mr. Spears. And Spears just mocks him. It's one thing dealing with a noxious beast, but you let a human get the best of you. Noxious beast there is referring to Sebastian, right? Though Al is hardly a human at this point. And Spears goes on, the retrieval division exists to handle unexpected situations, does it not? Well, but she's not an ordinary human. She's a reanimated corpse that's been unbelievably modified. And she stopped my death scythe. And we see that image of the scissor blade stab through the death scythe. The one thing a death scythe can't cut through is another death scythe. So would that make the scissors stronger than a death scythe? Because if they were just a death scythe, then Al couldn't have cut through Nox's lawnmower, but she did. Meaning it must be something beyond a death scythe, I guess. And the two of them give each other this sort of look as they sort of recognize how serious this could be. And Knox just panics, rubbing his head. This case is becoming even more complicated. Knox walks over to Al, and picks up her other... I think it's her other scissor. Because it doesn't look like doesn't look like the lawnmower and Al are near each other right now. So I'm guessing it's her other blade. And is he wiping the blood off? Or he's, my first image was, storing it in, a police, exhibit Ziploc or something. But he might just be, cleaning it. Because I guess they don't really have, forensic evidence here. I shall report this matter to the brass, the member of the management division. I shall report your blunder as well. I'm not sure what Nox's blunder is really meant to... getting beat by an enemy that they can't really explain? I'm not sure I'd call that a blunder, Spears, but okay. But Nox panics, gah! And then collects himself. So, why are you here? I didn't send you a pigeon this time. You have not submitted your daily report for 2 days. Oh, that's the blunder. Not doing paperwork. That sounds right. Is that why you came? I do not want you to increase my workload without warning, as I'm busy because we're short of staff. Good grief. But Spears just tells him, I'll hand this reanimated corpse over to headquarters, and hand it over to forensics. You'll also return and submit your reports. So I guess they really do have forensics. I was just like, there's no forensics, it's the 1880s. But no, literal forensics right then and there. I mean, I guess it's like supernatural forensics, and maybe they don't need to like study blood or something. I don't know. But Spears has this image of Undertaker. Ever since the existence of reanimated corpses has been confirmed, the brass have attached great importance to the pursuit of deserters. It is time that this matter be brought to an end. Which maybe is implying a sort of, like, especially with Undertaker as the series' big bad, seems to maybe be Yana gearing up for an ending? Like, it's time we deal with Undertaker. Admittedly, given that this is Black Butler, it's gonna be a while, as the next page drops us in on Finnian and Snake. And I want to take a moment to compare this transition into this storyline with the one into the sanitarium storyline. Because with that case, we took a bit. We had a little bit of like checking in on some of the other characters. And then we got a bit of a flashback to like remind us of where everyone was, of what's going on with each pair. Here, we're just jumping right in, which I kind of appreciate, but also, like, it's been so long. I see they're in Norfolk. I don't know what they were doing here, Finnian and Snake. I'm still hoping that, like, given that I don't think there's a lot of backstory left to explore with Finnian and Snake, hopefully this one will not be the slog, that, like, the huge fucking time sink the other two were. Like, there is no reason for either of the May Rin story or the Baldroy story to go on for over a year. But they both did. I don't have the numbers on hand to, like, check how long each of them were. That's too much work right now. But, like, I think the May Rin stuff started, I think it was, like, 154 or something. I feel like the flashback was, like, 157. And then, it would have started a few chapters before that. And that's almost 40 chapters ago. So, I know I say this, like, every month, and for some reason I'm just really, really jumping around, like, physically and mentally today, all of a sudden. I imagine this review is feeling very, like, scattershot. But, sorry, I lost train of thought there to talk about that. I will hope that this goes faster than the other two, but I'm not counting on it. Though maybe this will get us some actual, like, relevant drama and not flashback drama by finally having Baldroy find out the truth about his... Or not Baldroy, finally having Snake find out the truth about his friend's death, which could actually be good drama, assuming we don't get bogged down in a lengthy flashback. But anyway, the actual chapter, Finnian and Snake. As Finnian looks at a big old windmill and calls out, "That looks strong! What is it?" Good old simple Finnian, I've missed him. And Snake just tells him, "That's a windmill. It uses wind power to grind wheat into flour," says Wordsworth. "Sounds fun. Let's climb it." And Snake is just already done with him. "No, we need to hurry," says Emily. And Finnian just comments, "I wonder what an orphanage is like." "It's a terrible place," says Oscar. Here's something I maybe should have brought up ages ago with Snake. It's like, if you could actually... I feel like Snake is the kind of character you could have that, like, is in somewhat need of development, in the way that May Rin and Baldroy really weren't. That they are, like... All we really got from May Rin and Baldroy's time in the spotlight is them, like, reestablishing who... Like, just sort of emphasizing who they are, for lack of a better term. But Snake, you can very easily see him as a character who has room to grow. You know, the way he relies on his snakes is the sort of thing a focus story could develop. Along with, of course, the dead friends that are killed by his new friends, that he still does not know about yet. I don't know. Maybe we could get something here, but again, it's still the same fucking problem we've been in for like 3-4 years now. Anyway, they enter the gate, both of them look up, and they see the building, and it's this nice mansion, which feels kind of reminiscent of the sanatorium. And that, like, you know, Snake has this mention of, like, yeah, the orphanage is a terrible, terrible place that he... I don't know if we know Snake's pre-circus backstory, but I can see him, like, being in an orphanage pre-circus. I'm hoping this is not building up to us getting his pre-circus backstory, because, good lord, we don't need it. But anyway, this orphanage is nice, which also feels... Like, I don't know, will this end up being a repeat of Ada's storyline? how this orphanage is made to be better than other orphanages, but is also wrapped up in Aurora society. I'm hoping it's a little different. I don't know. Anyway, they look at it. So this is FOL Orphanage. But Finnian looks at it and thinks, I think I've seen this building before. On Snake 2. What a coincidence. I was thinking that too, says Oscar. Should we recognize this building? Because I don't. Unless... It couldn't be... Just thinking about Snake is the boss of the circus's place that Ciel and Sebastian burned down with all the orphans inside. Could this be that place rebuilt? I don't know. Maybe that wasn't just, like, not in Norfolk and I'm way off base. But I don't know. These are so... It's been so long since I read that arc, too, is the thing. But I'm like... We're at a new arc. I'm sort of reaching for connections already. As I do. And then one of the snakes whispers in Snake's ear, all of you, look around and see if there's anything suspicious, says Emily. And he, like, drops his travel bag, which is covered in, filled to the brim with snakes. Finnian, always adorable, calls out, do your best, all you snakes. And Snake flashes back so we are gonna get that flashback to the meeting. Just a little bit out of order this time. Listen, you two. This is an undercover operation. You need to play your role, so your identity is not disclosed. I prepared your character setup, so remember them well. Failure will not be tolerated. It does make a little bit of sense that Sebastian would be, extra careful with Finnian and Snake, just, given how especially how goofy Finnian can be. I understand why he would go to this extent. Anyway, yeah. Is that Finnian or Snake? I've lost track already. I think the darker coat is Finnian. Yeah, it's Finnian, who knocks on the door, and a woman comes out. Yes? And Finnian just yells out, hello, Finnian is the name, born in London, 14 years of age, both parents dead, a solitary orphan. He's just it feels like he's reciting from probably that sheet that Sebastian gave him. Living on the streets ever since he can remember. Neither parents nor child have criminal records. And Snake finally is just fed up. He's simply reciting his character setup, says Keats. And Snake then goes to, cover Finian's mouth where he can keep talking and, ruining their cover already. And then mutters to the woman, we heard rumors we can eat bread if we came here. So please, let us in. And even Snake, Snake is smart enough to, stop, to try to hide his little says whatever Snake, routine in front of people who don't know him. He still goes through with it. He still whispers, says Keats, but quiet enough that they can't hear. And it does show us, Snake probably was an orphan. He knows what to say to get into an orphanage. That line about, we heard rumors we can eat bread if we came here. That feels like he has some experience. And while a part of me is curious to sort of know what that experience is, I also don't need to know it, Yana. Please don't spend months and months and months on that backstory. We don't need it. We really don't need it. But anyway, the first woman notes, I haven't heard anything about new family members. And another walks up to her. What's the matter? 2 children are here. And Snake tells them, look, we walked all the way here from London. If we cannot stay here, we have no choice but to hang ourselves. That's a stretch, but okay. I guess starvation can be a desperate thing, says Keats. And the woman pauses for a moment and takes them in. Why not give them the test, at the least? But one of the advanced class children was just fostered out. We may be able to welcome them as family if they have the right aptitude. Okay, we're getting a sense already for what sort of... the way, the orphanage and tied up with tests... It's giving me Promised Neverland vibes. Early Promised Neverland. I've only seen the anime for that too, so, good Promised Neverland. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see going on there. And the first woman notes, you're right, then come in. And the 2 boys go in, and there's this dramatic shut from the door, which is not ominous at all. And then one of the snakes is going about his business, and he's caught by someone who looks like Snake. But to be continued, it can't be Snake, because Snake just went inside. And that's it for this chapter. So, okay. I mean, I'm trying to work out what to say here. This is a chapter that is very, very divided. Like, not just two scenes, but like two mini arcs here. We leave the Layla and the Reaper stuff with like very little fanfare. You know, a bit of a cliffhanger in the whole, it's time we brought this matter to an end. With Spears talking about just getting rid of Undertaker once and for all, I guess. But I don't know. Part of it is the frustration that I don't think Yana's getting back to that for a long, long time. You know, maybe that's sort of how she sees these arcs. Because, like, as I recall, it's been a while, so I might be not quite right here. But Mei Rin's arc ended with a quick trip to the Undertaker to see what was going on with him, and there was that mystery person, and I forget all the details because it's been a couple years, because of course it's been a couple years. And now we're checking in on the Reapers, and maybe next time we'll see some other, like, next time in 2024, we'll see some other factions at play when this storyline finally ends. I feel like a little bit my frustrations are coming through a little clearer, or a little overly emphasized than they need to. This is a mostly fine chapter, given Butler being Butler. But it's the sort of thing that, like, I'm also, because we're at the end of an arc and the start of a new one, you know, part of me wants to read the chapter and take a step back at the same time, because that break is so awkwardly placed in the middle. I don't know. Like, looking at Blue Revenge, as the wiki wants to call it, because it can't handle the fact that almost half the series is one arc at this point. It's, you know, continuing to be frustrating that we're right back. You know, we even like the last time we had a couple chapters that were just like moving far, you know, other characters' plot threads forward. Whereas here, right as we might get to that with the sanitarium plot finally done, we don't even have a chapter to be like, yeah, maybe there will be forward progress before we go right back in time to the start of Snake and Finnian's mission. So maybe it's a little bit of frustration caused by that. I still think that, like, once the Blue Cult saga is finally done, it will look not always great on a reread, but, like, much better when you don't have to wait a month for barely anything. That's still nothing has really changed in that theory. Even this sort of awkward arc placement works much better if you can read a bunch of chapters at the same time, as opposed to reading them month to month very slowly over the course of several years. I don't know. These are all, like, long-standing frustrations with Butler. Nothing here is new for my views on this series as a whole. So yeah, like, I like the bits we get, with Spears and Nox sort of setting up setting up the idea that once these arcs finally end in, like, 2026 or some shit, things are gonna move into a climax. Not quickly, because this is Butler, but, like, something close to quickly. Whatever quickly means for this series, within a year or two of these mini arcs ending. I don't know. I think part of it is that, like, we're officially at the halfway point here, and just seeing how long the first half was, and I mean, hopefully when we get to the Sebastian and Ciel are the other the fourth pair, right? And, like, they don't have any more backstory to go through at this point, so that one might be quick. I don't know. I am jumping around a lot, I know. I don't know what's been... All of a sudden, like, an hour or so ago, I got really jittery, and when I do that, I start to jump around a lot of my thoughts. It's a whole problem. But that's where we are right now, and that's when this chapter came out, so that's what you get. I don't know. Like, there's nothing bad here in the chapter itself. All of this content... Like, the best of what Butler has been doing the past few years. None of it is bad. A lot of it is a lot of it even has the potential to be good. It's just so little and so paced so fucking slowly that, you know, you've been on this ride. If you've been on this ride as long as I have, you fucking know. You fucking know. But let's just have hope that this arc is relatively quick and good in a way that, like, the last two, you know, Mei Rin was neither quick nor good, and Baldroy was just not quick and had some bad parts. But I don't know. Let's wait and see before I judge the Snake and Finnian stuff as really bad. That's my final thoughts. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!